that will be so thankful for the relief that will follow the galus. It's not a complete thanking, it's not a full thanking. Why? Because we would rather not have the pain before. So if it's only about the redemption from the pain, and we will thank so much, no, we will thank so much when it wouldn't happen at all. It was preferable, the Rebbe said, that to begin with shouldn't be all this chaos and all this galus. This is not what the pasuk means. Pasuk doesn't mean, oh, we're so thankful when galus will be over. But it's not only what it means. What it means is that we will thank for an afterbi dafka, not for the relief from the pain. We will thank for the pain. That through the galus came the aliyah of the geula, to the highest wondrous levels of geula. Good evening. Tonight is the eve of Ches Iyar, the 8th of Iyar, and we want to dedicate the shiur especially to those that were injured, the chayalim, the giborim that were injured, and it's just way too many, and ad masai, and the Hashem should send them refuah shleima betoch all those that were injured, and those that are not well should heal, and the healing should be the healing of the Geula Amitis Vashleima, nothing less than that, where everyone will heal completely, begashmis and beruchnius, and we are all crying ad masai, enough is enough, and let us have the victory. Netzach Yisrael lo yishaker, the victory we are calling for, the victory of starting from the inside Geula that we will discuss a little bit tonight. In the Dvar Malchus, very strong, this Parashas Emor. So we'll end with that. We will begin with Tanya, page Ayin Beis, which is 143. And we will continue with a little bit on Sefiras Haomer, and Nekuda on Sefiras Haomer from the Sivos Shalom, and then we'll conclude with Dvar Malchus, Be'ezras Hashem. In the Tanya, in Perek Nun Aleph, we just concluded last time reviewing the metaphor of how the neshama generates its life force into the body and how it relates to the body. And we learned that the essence of the neshama, the essence of the soul, is beyond space, obviously, and therefore is present all over the body equally, not in the head more than in the feet. It's all over the same. However, included in the soul itself, there is also a special potential of life force that is designated to this specific body, including all the powers that will show up in the body when the soul will be invested in each and every organ. So we have the Etzem HaNefesh, that is all over the same, and we have the Kochos HaNefesh, and the Chayas of the Nefesh that is designated to the body, that is also included there, but included in a way that is completely unrecognized. It's one with the soul, and as it progresses towards revelation, the potential becomes closer and closer to be revealed, to the realm of revelation. And it begins from a very deep potential, like the fire in the flintstone. It now begins to show up by showing up first in the brain. The certain aspect that is designated as the highest for this body, and potentially all the organs and all the kochos, all the functionings and the powers of the body, the way the soul reveals itself, in each and every organ, that begins in the brain. In the brain, it's hamshacha ne'elemes still. It's still a hidden hamshacha. You cannot, if you could see what's going on in the brain, you wouldn't see 613 powers. you would see one thing. But hidden in that, included its potential, which is now close to revelation, there are all the koichos of the nefesh, the way they manifest when the brain radiates like sun, radiates its powers to be revealed in each and every organ. Like the sun reveals, the sunlight is revealed from the sun. And now we have different koichos revealed. The power of seeing, the power of hearing, the power of walking, and so on. Now we are going to discuss the nimshal, the analog, what this metaphor comes to represent. So this metaphor is coming to represent the relationship between Or and Sof and worlds. Or and Sof itself, the infinite presence of God, as in the analogy, the essence of the soul, is all in all the worlds equally, is present in all the worlds equally. Or and Sof itself. However, it's completely hidden. And as we will learn, it's hidden from the lower worlds not more than the higher worlds. It's hidden in the higher worlds not less than in the lower worlds. This is regarding to Or and Sof itself. That's like the essence of the soul, which is found all over the same, that inspires the body all over the same. And that's Or and Sof that is equally present in all the worlds, but in a makif, in a hidden way that we don't perceive. Then there is what is called the Shechina. The Shechina is that aspect of Or and Sof that is designated for worlds. And the Shechina also, like the chayos in the brain, the different specific chayos to different specific nivraim, worlds and creation, you cannot find it in the Shechina yet. The Shechina is beyond the limitations of created worlds. And therefore the Shechina itself is too high to be revealed directly in each and every creation. And therefore we will learn that just as the soul, when it really wants to reveal itself in the body, has to do it through a series of tzimtzumim, beginning with showing itself in the brain, and from the brain revealing its powers in each and every organ, so too Or and Sof has to also metzamtzem itself and now reveal its aspect that is shayach specifically to worlds. And it begins where? In the brain of every world. What's the brain of every world? That's the Chabad of every world. Like our brain is made of Chochmah, Bina, and Das, so too in the Nimshal. The Chochmah, Bina, Das, the Kodesh HaKodashim of every world, which will be explained way more next chapter, 52, is where the Shechina begins to reveal itself to the world. But then it's still in a hidden way. It's in still potential. And then when it's disseminating its rays, its radiance, like the sun disseminates light, each and every world is created, each and every being in each and every world is created according to its level, to its amount and quality of chayus, whether it's the spiritual chayus all the way down to the physical chayus. Then we see the differences. And in this case, the higher worlds will experience more revealed light than the lower worlds, all the way to this lowest world, the world of Asiya. And in this world of Asiya, the lowest is inanimate, which looks like dead objects. They have no life in them, but they do. There is divine life force that brings them into existence and animates them each and every second. But it is so hidden and covered up that it looks like they are inanimate, they are dead. And so too the physicality of this world. So in that case, the way the Shekhinah reveals itself in each world, like the way the sun shines in different rooms and in different homes, it depends. It depends how big the window is, it depends what color it is. This is how it will show up. And so too the Shekhinah. It will reveal itself in a defined way in each and every world, or in each world, in each and every being, according to its capacity, to its inyan, to its purpose, and so on and so forth. So let's begin inside. So we are on page Ayin Beis. V'chacha mamash. So too mamash, al derech mashal. For an example, as we gave the example, the Rebbe gave the example of the soul and the body. So too in the Shekhinah, regarding the Shekhinah, that is such similar to the mashal, to the analogy of the specific life force of the soul now being revealed in the brain, and from the brain to the organs. And so too in the nimshal, in the analog. Ein sof baruch hu memale kol al min lachayoisam. The infinite, blessed be him, fills all the worlds equally. Here, memale doesn't mean the light of memale versus the light of sovev. It means that he fills all the worlds equally to animate them. Uvechol olam, says the Rebbe, and in each and every world, yesh bu'im le'ein keitz v'sachlis. And in each and every world, there are beings and creations, le'ein keitz, infinite, innumerable, in quality and in quantity. Because in each and every world, there are ribo revavos minei madregos. Ribo ribavos, ribo is 10,000, and revavos is 10,000s. Is 10,000s of 10,000s, that's millions and billions of minei madregos, of kinds of levels in each world. Psi in quality and psi in quantity. And these myriads of levels in each world that you cannot even count includes malachim u'neshamas chulu. Includes angels, angelic beings, and spiritual beings, and neshamas, and souls. And all this is in one world. V'chen ribui ha'olamos ein lo keitz v'gvul, gavoa al gavoa chulu. And so too, we looked at one world, but there are myriads of worlds that also have no number to them. Ein keitz, no end of worlds. Gavoa al gavoa, as it says in Koheles, Shlomo HaMelech. Higher and higher and higher and higher. You can't count all of them. Vehine, all these tremendous amount of worlds and beings and so on, doesn't come directly, so to speak, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, because Mahuso v'atzmuso shel Ein Sof Baruch Hu shaveh ba'elyonim v'tachtonim. So all these different worlds and beings, and each one has their own chayus, in quality, in quantity, more revealed, less revealed. That has no shaychos to Atzmus Or Ein Sof directly. Why? Because Atzmus Or Ein Sof itself, the way it relates to itself, is equally present, shaveh ba'elyonim v'tachtonim, equally present in the higher worlds and in the lower worlds, just the same. And it is the way it is all over equally. כמשל הנשמה הנ"ל. Like the neshama itself, the neshama in relation to itself, the essence of the soul shines all over the body equally. And the proof that Or and Sof itself, that godliness itself, is present in all the worlds, in all the creations equally, is that what was said before, that the higher worlds don't know him more than the lower worlds. And the lower worlds don't know him less than the higher worlds. When you talk about Atzmus Or and Sof itself. וכמו שכתוב בתיקונים, as it says in the Zohar, in the הקדמה to the Zohar, דאיהו ססימו דכל ססימים. That he is the hidden of all hiddens. Perush, not that he is more hidden than others. It means that he is completely hidden and absolutely hidden by the higher worlds, to the higher worlds, just as it is hidden to the lower worlds. That even in what we call the hidden world, Alma Discassia, that they are completely aware and they are aware of being within their source. We feel separate from our source. We have to figure it out. But the Alma Discassia are creations that feel themselves as part of their source. And even from them, Or in Sof itself, Atmos Or in Sof, is completely sesimin. It's the sasum, it's completely hidden. These are worlds that we have no saga in these worlds, that so high they are. Nevertheless, Or and Sof in their reality as well is husasum v'ne'elam besocham. It's completely hidden and concealed. Sealed and concealed and hidden in them, from them. כמו שהוא ססום ונעלם בסחתונים. Just as it is hidden and sealed from us, from the lowest worlds, the created world, בריאה, יצירה, עשייה. Why it is? כי לייס מחשבה תפיסה בכלל. Because there is no thought, there is no mental process that can get hold of. Tfisa means grasp. The word grasp can be used mentally, you grasp an idea, but also it means that you are holding something, you are holding the edges of something. But when you're talking about the infinite, how can you grasp? Has no edges, no definitions at all. So there's no thought, not angelic, not human, not any thought. Even the Netzalim, the emanated worlds, there is no thought and consciousness and reality that can grasp God. In terms of machshava, afilu ba'olamos elyonim, even in the highest worlds. V'nimtza, so we find that Or and Sof is כמו שמצוי שם, כך נמצא בתחתונים. That Or and Sof, just as it is present in the highest worlds, it is the same, in the same manner present in the lowest worlds. Mamash, literally. Which means, what does it mean? It means that Or and Sof is present and found in each and every atom and molecule and whatever, cell, of each and every world, including in the lowest, each and every part and detail of the lowest world. Or and Sof is present there, and at the same time, the world has no tfisa in it. The world cannot grasp it at all. And the same thing happens in the higher worlds. That Or Ein Sof is present in each and every detail of the highest worlds and completely concealed from them, from these worlds, and not grasped. By the way, regarding that, I don't know if I mentioned it in one of the shiurim. You with me, Hasidah? That we say that there is no thought that can grasp God, even in the highest realities. There is an expression, and that shouldn't leave us despaired, because Hashem did not create our worlds and ourselves in order to be detached from us. And therefore, what does it mean that there is no thought that he grasps him? So we are doomed. We are lost. We are hopeless. There is no thought. Leit b'chashava beklal. There is no thought that can grasp him at all. So how else can you grasp? He's not physical. I cannot grasp him with my hands. The only other tool to perceive is my mental capacities, if not the physical. There is an expression in Hasidus, Ilu hayisiv yedativ. If I were him, I would know him. Meaning, I cannot grasp Hashem. The only way for us to connect and grasp him is if we were him. Then you know him from being part of it. There's no other way to know him from outside. Because any idea, especially the idea that we have, is from outside. We get to know something which we don't. So only if you are being him, you can actually know him from within. The truth is, though, that we are him. We are Chelek Elokah Mima'al Mamash. And therefore we can know him. Not in a way of machshava tfisa beh, not in a way of a thought that can grasp him, because he's not defined at all, he's not definable. But we can know him because we are him. We are made of the same stuff. That's our essence. Anyhow, that's a side comment, it's not part of the text here. Now, if this is the case, that Or Ein Sof itself is completely present in every detail of each world, from the lowest to the highest, yet not known to any of them at all. So, what is the difference between the higher worlds and the lower worlds? We say that there are higher worlds and lower worlds. There is a difference in the relation to godliness. They are higher and they are lower. What does it mean? וההבדל שבין עולמות עליונים לתחתונים, said the Rebbe. The difference between the higher and the lower worlds is just as the difference between the different organs of the body, not because of the neshama itself. The neshama, the essence of the soul, is in all of them equally. But there is an amshacha from the neshama that begins in the brain. And in that hamshacha from the neshama, there are included potentially the different koichos that are revealed, the different powers that are revealed in the body. And there are differences. So again, what's the difference between Elyonim and Tachtonim, says the Rebbe? Hu mitzad hamshachas achayus asher ein sof baruch hu mamshich u'ma'ir. Is because it's the hamshachas achayus from the Shechina. First of all, the Shechina is already an aspect of Or Ein Sof that is shaykh to worlds, and even the Shechina is not directly revealed. There is an hamshacha from the Shechina, like rays from the sun. Hamshachas achayus, hamshacha of life force, that is mamshich and meir to the created beings. In this case, in the mashal, it just the soul animates the body but doesn't create the body. Right? In the mashal, there's a difference now between the mashal and the nimshal, the analogy and the analog. And the difference is that in the mashal, in the analogy, the soul is invested in the body one way or another, the way we describe, indirectly or directly. But it doesn't create the body. In the nimshal, in the analog, which means the relation between Or and Sof and worlds, not only that Ha'ara from Or and Sof, that a radiance from Or and Sof reveals itself in the different worlds, in different ways and different levels, in quality and in quantity. Not who wants to complete the sentence? Not only that Or and Sof reveals itself in the different worlds according to their levels, but what else does Or and Sof?
It gives life to it.
Exactly. It creates it. Not only giving life to animate it, it creates it. Then the Neshama doesn't create the body. There's another force that creates the body. The soul doesn't create the body, only animates it. Or and Sof does both. It creates the different world and then animates it. It creates each and every single being in each and every world, and there are uncountable beings in uncountable worlds. In each world, and then all the worlds are not counted. There are so many that can be counted. And in each and every one, there is specific hamshacha that creates that world or that being in that world, that malach or that soul or that animal or that grass or that rock, and brings it into existence and animates it. Make sure it's alive, sustained. So from where all this is, not directly from Or and Sof, rather הוא מצד המשחת החיוס אשר אין סוף ברוך הוא ממשיך ומאיר. It's from this המשחה of chayus. You should know though that it doesn't mean that there is a detachment between the essence of the soul and the aspect of the soul that is invested in the body. Of course, all the powers of the soul that are revealed in the body, they are eventually drawing their force and their energy from the soul itself, from the essence of the nefesh. And the same thing, regarding Or and Sof. It's true that Or and Sof reveals itself through the Shechina so that we can remain, first of all, exist as limited beings, because if it will be revealed, none of us will be able to maintain our existence in its presence. The truth is that we cannot even maintain our existence in the presence of the Shechina. It's too much. We would disappear, we would vanish, would lose our metzius. And therefore, there have to be levushim, garments, and concealments, and cover-ups, more and more and more, so there will be more finite beings, and each one in their special character according to their special mission. And there are innumerable number of beings in each and every world, and there are so many, no end number of worlds. And all this is created individually and sustained and animated through the radiance from the Shechina. Like the brain sends the special energy to each and every organ, tailored to this organ according to its function. Yes, so to the Shechina, which is the source of Hashpa'as HaChayus to the worlds, it mashpia first to the moichin in this world, to the brain of this world, as we will explain next chapter. And from there, all the specific individual hamshachos, drawings of life and life force, are drawn out from that center to everything in that world. Because in the center they are still behelem, and they are revealed in each and every being. Just as in the brain, all the powers of the soul are still hidden, but they are revealed when when the energy from the brain radiates into the organs. When is the final process of that Shechina radiating its life force? It's liyot b'bchinas gilui. Only just as the Chayos is revealed as a koyach, has different powers in the organs when it comes out of the brain and shows up in the organ, so too the Chayos from the Shechina has to come out from the center, from the Kodesh HaKodashim, from the moichin of that world, and has to be applied and disseminated to the different beings of that world. And when it comes out from the potential to the actual, that is called b'bchinas gilui me'ahelem, as the Rebbe calls it. It being revealed out of its potential state. And with this, we'll stop for tonight, Be'ezras Hashem, and continue understanding the analogy, Mirz Hashem, next. We are in the middle of explaining it, and we'll continue next week with God's help. I would like to share with you a little bit a nekuda that I see in Hasidus about Sefiras Haomer. It's just a point, it's not a whole essay, but just a point that will connect us a little bit with the time, which is a very special time, as we discussed in the beginning of the month. Learning also Lan Ba'omer on Tuesday nights. We all say each night, "Uspartem lachem mimacharas haShabbos miyom aviachem es Omer hatenufa." You should count mimacharas haShabbos, the day after Shabbos, from the day you bring the Omer that is uplifted. Sheva Shabbasos temimos tiyena. 7 full weeks that are again not called. First of all, it says "Uspartem lachem mimacharas haShabbos." You should count from when? Why not Mimachas HaPesach? We are counting Mimachas HaPesach. Why Mimachas HaShabbos? Why causing problems? Next is that we should count Sheva Shabbatot Mimot. 7 full weeks. Why not Sheva Shavuos Tmimim? Say it what you mean. It means that we should count 7 full weeks. Why weeks are called Shabbatot? It's true there is a way to say a week, from Shabbos to Shabbos is a week, but why confuse it? Say count 7 weeks. No, count 7 Shabbosim. Add till when? Doesn't stop. Mimachras HaShabbos HaShvi'is. Until the day after the last Shabbos. Again, the way to say it. The way the Torah defines this whole process of Sefira is using almost only the word Shabbos. So you should count till the 7th Shabbos, the day after, and then it says, Tisperu 50 yom, you should count 50 days, and then you should be kraftem mincha chadasha le'avaya. And then you should bring a new offering to God. So the Mefarshim are really exploring what is brought in this pasuk, that Torah, the inyan of Shabbos, so many times, the word Shabbos. The Torah calls Chag HaPesach Shabbos here. No other Moados, no other holidays are called by the Torah Shabbos, only Pesach. And why דווקא לגבי הספירה נקרא פסח בשם Shabbos? Why when it comes to the ספירה, the counting, Pesach is called Shabbos? Mashma, that the counting, the sphera is connected to the principle, the bchina, what is called bchina in Hasidus, the principle, the aspect of Shabbos that is found in Pesach as well. So much so that it's called Shabbos. And so in the continuation, נאמר שבע שבתות ממוס תהיינה. There should be 7 full Shabbosim. עד ממחרת השבס השביעי, till the day after the 7th Shabbos. So we need to understand, ask the Nesiv Shalom, what is the inyan of Shabbos that repeats itself and repeats itself in the portion of the Torah that discusses Sefiras Haomer, and why it doesn't say call Pesach, Pesach, why it calls it Shabbos, why it doesn't say weeks, it says weeks means Shabbos. As it says actually in the Torah in another Parsha, Parashas Re'eh, which we don't quote here. In Parashas Re'eh it says, Shiva Shavuos tispor lecha v'asisa chag Shavuos. 7 weeks you should count to yourself and you should make the holiday of Shavuos. Here the Torah says 7 weeks, Shiva Shavuos. Why here Sheva Shabbatos? So he explains it, and I try to do it as short as possible, but he explains it like this, that the inyan of the days of the Sphira and the tafki, the task of a Yid in them, as it says in many holy Sfarim, that when Yidden were in Mitzrayim, we were sunk in Mem Tes Share Tuma, in 49 gates of Tuma, of impurity. And when they exited Mitzrayim, in order to receive the Torah, this is the whole inyan of Sefiras Haomer. I'm not innovating anything new here. עדיין היו צריכים לצאת ממם תס שער תומה, לפני קבלת התורה. That means that even after they left Mitzrayim, they still needed to go out of the 49 gates of Tuma so they can be ready to receive the Torah. And that's why we count now. And therefore, they were given the days of counting, the days of the Sphira. And Lich'oira, seemingly, he's asking a question. What does it mean that the Yidden were sunk in Mem Tes Share Tuma, in 49 gates of Tuma, of impurity, that if they fell into the 50th, they would be hopeless. They wouldn't be able to be elevated. And Hashem himself came down to schlep them out from there. אמרו חז"ל, in Medrash, the Chachamim say שלא היה אחד מהם פרוץ באריות. That not one Jew was compromised in morality, in arayos. And we hear that they didn't change the name, doesn't say it. Didn't change the name, didn't change the language. What do you mean they were sunk in Mem Tes Share Tuma? So bad it was? We were different. That means that they were actually in the utmost level, lowest level of Tuma like the Mitzrim? So the Perush that is brought are many Perushim. This is one of them that Hasidus brings on the Pasuk, V'chamushim alu bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. Chamushim, 50. 50. There are different opinions. What Chamushim means. Armed is a 50. Chamishim means 50. And that means the Yetzias Mitzrayim is mentioned in the Torah 50 times. The Exodus of Mitzrayim is mentioned in the Torah 50 times. Why? Because there are 50 levels, 50 bchinos, 50 aspects of coming out of Mitzrayim. There are many levels of coming out of Mitzrayim. There is a more subtle and more subtle and more subtle and more subtle and more. But Dakos the Dakos, 50 levels. And everything is called Yetzias Mitzrayim. It's called all included, all these levels. First, starting for the most coarse levels, and then going more refined, more refined, more refined. There are levels of Yetzias Mitzrayim of this Tumah. And it becomes subtle and more subtle, more subtle. And in comparison to where they had to reach in order to be ready and with the right receptacle to receive the divine revelation of the Holy Torah, they had to exit all 49 gates so that Hashem can bring them into the 50th gate of Gilui Elokus Mamash. As it says that Hashem told them before Kabbalas HaTorah, V'atem tiyu li mamleches kohanim vegoy kadosh. You should be for me a kingdom of kohanim, of priests, and a goy kadosh, and a holy nation. Goy kadosh doesn't mean that you don't sin that you shouldn't sin in all the low sins that human beings can. Of course, that's not Goy Kadosh. That's not a holy nation. A holy nation means that a person doesn't do what he feels like. A holy nation is a person who, even though there are many things that are heter, that are mutar, that are permissible, but he would not be engaging himself in them, or he would engage himself in them in a special way that is intentful and has a divine purpose. Otherwise, he is not called Kadosh. We are not called Kadosh. Kadosh means we are separate in everything. And the Atmos Ratzon of Hashem is that we actually will become priests, priests of the divine service, that we should be completely immersed in the divine service. And for this, the days of counting were given to the Jewish people. L'tahareinu mikliposeinu mitumoseinu, to purify, to crystallize and purify us from all the clippers, from all the impurities. The Ramchal in Mesilas Yesharim talks about Kedusha, that Hashem wants us to be Goy Kadosh. He wants us to be a holy nation. And he talks about Kedusha, and you know what he says about Kedusha? That Yelud Isha, Ein Yelud Isha Yachol La'asig HaKedusha Bekochos Atzmo. A Yelud Isha, a born from a woman, which is a human being, cannot attain holiness by himself. She'ein bekoach ha'adam lios kadosh. It's not within the power of a person to make himself kadosh. So how do we become a holy nation if it's not within our power? How do we become priests to Hashem, Kohanim, a kingdom of Kohanim and Goy Kadosh, if it's not possible to attain it by ourselves? So Hasidus explains that it begins with Ishtadlus, with doing everything we can. That's the Tchilaso Hishtadlus. The beginning of the process is our own effort. Vesofo Matana. And the end of it is a gift. It's a divine gift that is not in proportion and in correlation, direct correlation to our effort. It's way beyond that. That's like the 50th gate. How do we get this gift? So he explains that matana zu zochin la bekoach haShabbos kodesh. This gift of becoming holy, we are zoche to get this gift because we by ourselves cannot attain it. We are receiving this gift from Shabbos Kodesh, from the Holy Shabbos. As Chazal say, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu leMoshe. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Matana tova yesh li bebeis genazai. I have a good gift in my treasures, in my treasury. V'Shabbos Shma, and it's called Shabbos. That means that on Shabbos, a Yid can attain the gift of Kedusha that begins with his own effort, but goes beyond, way beyond. It ends with a gift from the Maila, from above. And the inyan is that Shabbos is only Sarusa de Le'ela. All the Yamim Tovim, all the holidays are coming about in connection to initiation from below. The Beis Din established when the Yontif begins. But Shabbos is Isarusa de Le'ela. The spiritual shefa, flow of Shabbos is coming, is not one we create. It comes from above, and it's a time when HaKadosh Baruch Hu uplifts a Yid to his own chamber, to his glorious chamber. And so too, he explains, is Chag HaPesach. Chag HaPesach is also an initiation from above. Ani Hashem Elokeichem asher hotzeisi eschem mi'eretz Mitzrayim. Yisrael from their side were not ready for that, were not deserving for that either, from one angle, from one aspect. As it says in the Medrash itself, that Amru Yisrael leMoshe, He'ach anu nigalim. How can we be, they couldn't believe, how can we be redeemed if Kol Eretz Mitzrayim mele'ah betinuf v'gilulei avodah zara shelanu. Eretz Mitzrayim is full with avodah zara, and we are participating, Shem Yishmor. Amar lahem Moshe answered, Kivan shechafetz HaKadosh Baruch Hu lega'alchem, shuv eino mabit b'gilulei avodah zara shelachem. Since Hashem desires to redeem you, He is not looking anymore at your iniquities. Umay time anikra Chag HaPesach Shabbos. And from this reason, or what reason, Chag HaPesach is called Shabbos. We began the discussion with this question. Because Chag HaPesach is Sarusa de Le'ela, like Shabbos Kodesh. It brings divinity into a Yid, Milamayla, not necessarily according to where he's holding. It's initiation from below, from above. Vezeu perosh, this is what it means, Sfartem lachem mimachras HaShabbos. The Sfartem, as we know and heard many times, the word sapphire means to shine, to make something brilliant, like sapphire. And Sfartem means, Usfartem lachem, we are told. You should count lachem. What's lachem? Lachem means whatever is given to you, to your choice. Mitzvahs, for sure, it's not lachem, mitzvahs is lashem. But there are many aspects of life that are lachem. It's given up to you. You use it the way you wish. It's mutar, lachem. But now, in this time of the year, we are told, Usfartem lachem. You should shine that which is lachem, which is up to you, the gray area. And you should illuminate those areas. This is the task of the days of the Sefirah. And if we come and say, wait a minute, how much you expect from us? It's impossible for Yilud Isha, for a human being to attain such levels of Kedusha. About this, the Torah says, Mimachras HaShabbos. You should count the day after Shabbos. You should know that Pesach that is functioning like Shabbos, that Milemayla Hashem gave you the koyach. He came to take you out. He gave you the empowerment. You have the empowerment of Pesach. It's like Shabbos that comes before the days of Sefirah. You start counting next day. But before that, you begin this Chag HaPesach, which is called Shabbos, which is Yesh Bo Koach HaKdusha Shel Shabbos. That Chag HaPesach has the power of Kedusha of Shabbos, to elevate from above. And following that, we also are told, Sheva Shabbasos Tmimos Tiyena. There should be 7 full weeks that are called also Shabbatot. Ad Mimachas HaShabbos HaShvi'is, until the day after the 7th Shabbos. That means that the beginning, the middle of the end, everything comes with the koyach kedushas HaShabbos. Mimachas HaShabbos you begin, you count Shabbos Shabbosim, and Mimachas HaShabbos, the last Shabbos HaShviz, you have Shavuos. Everything is about Shabbos here. Which means that this whole process of you refining yourself until you become Goy Kadosh, Mamleches Kohanim veGoy Kadosh, a holy people, the beginning, middle, and end is Bekoach Kedushas HaShabbos, which is a matana tova, is a good present and gift to be given from above, and it's given only though after the Ishtadlus before Shabbos. I'm sorry, yes, if you call it, talking about the last Shabbos, Machas Shabbos. If the Shabbos functions in such a way, yes, it's a shefa that comes from above, but it only comes when a person did what he could from his end. He himself cannot reach by himself, but then after doing what he can, he gets the gifts of Shabbos. And this is Perush Mimachas Shabbos, Mikoyach Kedushas Shabbos, that is present on the first day of Pesach. That the same energy is present on the first day of Pesach. You'll be able to do Sefiras Haomer and refine yourself, even Dvarim HaMutarim, even Lachem. So the Sfarim explain that first comes a tremendous Iyar light on the first day of Pesach, Milemala, like Shabbos, tremendous amount of Kedusha. And after the first day, it's mistalekes. It withdraws. This amazing illumination in our radiance. But me'ata, from then, the day after the Pesach, after the first Yontif, which is like a big Shabbos, Yisrael have to start labor, misyagea, in themselves, in the days of the Sefira, until Chag HaShavuos, they reach again the same illumination, the same light that came on the first day of Pesach, but from above, when we were not ready for it yet. Now we can attain the same Kedusha through our own avodah. And all the days of Sefira are from the empowerment of the impression that is created by the first Yontif of Pesach, which is called Shabbos, which we count V'machas Shabbos, which is a matana tova, b'sarusa de le'ela. And this, to conclude, that the days of the Sefira are included in the pasuk Adam uve'ema toshia avaye, that you will save Adam uve'ema. That means at Pesach we bring the sacrifice of Minchas HaOmer from barley, which is machal behema, the food of behema, and Shavuos we bring the shtei alechem. We bring the bread, the two breads that are made of chitim, of wheat, not barley, but wheat, which is ma'achal adam, which is the purpose of the days of the Sefira, to work on oneself, to refine oneself, and to mizdachech, to purify oneself, until he turns over from an aspect of behema to an aspect of Adam. What's the difference? A behema does everything it wants. As we began in the beginning of discussion, what does it mean to be kadosh? A behema does everything it wants or feels like. But a person, Adam, yesh bo das, he has consciousness and awareness and choice. And he does only what is proper and what needs to be done through the cheshbon, through calculating and through assessing what needs to be done and for what purpose. And the task of the days of the Sefira is to purify, to refine all those methods that are given to our reshus, the lachem, uspartem lachem, all those methods when it comes to do to Hashem, we know we have to be engaged in a mitzvah, and there are many, many ways to engage in a mitzvah, bekamus, be'echus, in quantity, in quality, in the doing the mitzvah, in the kavanah of the mitzvah, but that's all mitzvahs. Here with Svartem Lachem, that even those areas that are up to you, you can use it not as a mitzvah and it will be okay, but if you use it intentfully for the sake of Shamayim, this is making you a holy person. They turn the behema into Adam. And through this we come to the Yehud, to the intended V'atem tiyu li mamleches kohanim vegoy kadosh. You should be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And now we become ready and proper receptacle to receive the Torah. Because the tachlis of the entire Torah and all 613 mitzvahs is to cleave to Hashem. And as long as we are not completely purified from any trace of Tumah, and there are 50 levels of exiting from Tumas Mitzrayim, a person cannot completely cleave to God. And in the times of the Sefira, is Mekachem Yisrael et Atzmam. Yisrael are sanctifying themselves like a woman who sanctifies herself in order to unify with her husband. Ad lechag HaShavuos, until the holiday of Shavuos, shebo zochim lemadrega gvoa, we marry to the highest level who voted back to be completely attached to God. Shehi tachlis HaTorah, which is the purpose of the Torah, and to bring, of course, the world to the same kind of a state. So this is a little bit about why Shabbos is so emphasized in the process of Sefiras Haomer, because we are receiving, beginning from the first day of Pesach, which is called Shabbos, we are receiving the empowerment of Kedusha Milamala, so we can, after step by step, prepare ourselves with our own labor and our own koyach to internalize the Kedusha and to be able to experience it fully on Chag HaShavuos. And this is done only from with the help from above, of the inyan of Shabbos, that the Kedusha of Shabbos comes from above. So everyone should have success in counting and refining and be ready to Kabbalas HaTorah mitoch simcha, mitoch tuv levav and bepnimius. But just to give few nekudas at Devar Malchus, the word of the king, is very powerful this week. Very powerful. Beginning with the fact that, and the reason why the Geula Amitis Vashlema is called Geula. Because, that Lashon HaKodesh is a divine language, it's not a human language. And why it's not called Hatzala, Yetzia, why Geula? And the Rebbe said it's for two reasons. Number one, Geula includes in its letters the word Gola, Galus. To teach, that's number one, to teach that the purpose of Geula is to elevate the avodah of Galus. How? Bringing in the Aleph, meaning to bring in the awareness of the Alufa Shel Olam, of the master of the world. That's one reason why Geula is called Geula, is Gola plus Aleph. The second, and maybe in a way deeper, to know, and it's very important, that the Geula arrives dafka as a result of the avodah of Galus. Not the Geula compensates for Galus, or the Geula brings Galus to a better place. That's also true, by bringing the Aleph. But it means that the Geula is accomplished dafka as a result from the avodah of Galus. And therefore, most of the letters of the word Geula are Gola. Most of the letters, except for one, are really Galus. So most of the letters of the word redemption in Hebrew are exile. So the Rebbe says, we explained it in the previous conversation, but here the Rebbe says, let me clarify a few more details regarding the word Geula. That will explain very well what do we need to do in our time, in Erev HaGeula, the eve of the redemption. The Rebbe says the Geula of Egypt, Mitzrayim, that was the opening of all redemptions, was in that not only the Jewish people, without any exception, left Egypt with all their own possessions, but not only that, but also including all the possessions of the Mitzrim, of the Egyptians, clay, kesef, clay zav, gold and silver, all kind of dishes and gold objects and silver and clothes and all kinds of expensive. Everything was transferred to the reshus, the ownership of the Jewish people, and was redeemed with the Jewish people. That means that even Galus, even the Galus itself, Mitzrayim itself, Egypt itself, was redeemed and carried out the purpose for which it was created. What was the purpose for which it was created? Lekayim es birkas Havayah, to fulfill the blessing of God that Bnei Yisrael will come out berchush gadol, will come out with tremendous richness. And in order to fulfill that prophecy, the Egyptian people recruited themselves to be part in that and to fulfill God's will, because they sensed and they realized the presence of God and the truth of Yiddishkeit. So the Rebbe says, a strange thing happened in Mitzrayim. After all the makos that the Mitzrim got, they came and willingly they pushed and say, here, please take all my vessels, take all my gold, take all my silver. After they were stricken so harshly by the leaders of the Jewish people. They almost forced the Eden to take their treasures. Even though they were not commanded, Hashem only commanded the Eden that they should ask the Mitzrim. And the Mitzrim pushed. And the Rebbe says, since the Geula elevates and refines the Galus itself, that's why the Egyptians, that part of them were great Chachamim, they were wise people. They, at the end of this process, they sensed that fact that Hashem runs the world, and whether more consciously or less consciously, they willingly gave their possessions to Bnei Israel. And so what we see, the Rebbe says, in addition to that is that Dafka descending into Galus caused the profit, the tremendous profit of Yetziah Mitzrayim, Berchush Gadol. They came out rich people. They came out poor people, a poor family. They didn't have anything, hunger. And they came out rich, tremendously rich. Everyone had different opinions how many donkeys of carrying richness came out. Each one had 90 donkeys or all kinds of numbers. And the Rebbe says this is the Seder in all redemptions. Even in the complete Geula that we are now at the eve of this Geula. Number one, it elevates and refines Galus itself. And number two, it arrives dafka as a result of the avodah of Galus. Then the Rebbe says, besides the fact that the Egyptians began to realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Manhig HaOlam, is the leader of the world. V'yidu Mitzrayim ki ani Havayah. There were other wondrous things that Bnei Israel experienced. Hashem himself revealed himself to them. The way Hashem revealed himself to Bnei Israel was the way he is way higher than the world. The way the Egyptians perceived Hashem is the way Hashem, only the way Hashem runs the world. That's not, to Hashem, that's not a big level, a high level. It's the lowest. But to Bnei Israel, he revealed himself the way he is. Anochi Hava Elokecha. I'm sorry, Bechvodo V'atzmo, it says, he himself came down, as we say in the Seder Pesach. The way he is way higher than the world. And if we pay attention, the Rebbe says, that Yetzias Mitzrayim was for the sake of Matan Torah, then the Gilui of Anochi Ashvai Elokecha means panim bepanim was very, very high, way higher than the world when Hashem spoke to us face to face. And now the Rebbe says, even higher than that, if you talk about the Geula Amitis V'Ashlema, the true and complete Geula, then for sure there will be Gilui Elokus that completely higher than the world. Because in Matan Torah was Gilui Elokus higher than the world, but some of it was shaykh to the world also. In the Geula Amitis V'Ashlema, we will experience Darga, not Darga, Elokus, the way it's completely higher than creation. And then there will be a chidush, the Rebbe says, an innovation in the world itself. And it's called Shamayim Chadashim ve'eretz Chadasha. There will be new heaven and new earth. Even in the Gilui Elokus, the highest level, Atzmus U'Marus, will be the essence of God will be revealed in this world. And in the Torah will be also a chidush, an innovation. Torah Chadasha Mi'iti Tetzeh. Not another Torah, but it will be a chidush in Torah, something that was never before seen. So the innovations of the chidushim regarding the relationship between God himself and the world will be so amazing that the Rebbe says that it will be the occupation of the entire world to know God only. It will be so intriguing and interesting that the sole occupation of the entire world, non-Jews as well, will be to know God. That's what everyone will be engaged in. And all this yeh begeula. But the Rebbe explained that each level represents an aspect of the Sefiros. There is the Midos, there is Chabad, there is Malchus, the Midos, there is Chabad, and there is a Pele, in like Shem Havai. There's Malchus, the Midos, and the Bina, Chochma, and Keser. So there is a level of Malchus, the level of Midos, the level of Moichem, but there's a level of Keser. Keser is completely Pele. There is Aleph, the Alufa Shel Olam, and there is Aleph, the way it's spelled Pele. You just change the letters, the state of that. It means, spell it, you say it Pele instead of Aleph. Same letters. Means a wonder. Abita niflaos mitorasecha. And we come to the point, the Rebbe says, that Odcha Hashem ki anafta bi. It's a hard pasuk. It's a hard pasuk in Tehillim, Odcha Hashem ki anafta bi. I will thank you, Hashem, for being punitive, for punishing me, for being upset, for being angry at me. Tashuv apcha. Stop your anger. Cease your anger with a nachameni and comfort me. Bring the geula. L'choira, the Rebbe says, how is it possible that we will thank Hashem for being angry at us? How is that possible, asked the Rebbe. And if the meaning is that we'll be so thankful for the relief that will follow the galus, then it's not a complete thanking. Thanking. Why? It's not a complete thanking. It's not a full thanking. Why? Because we would rather not have the pain before. So if it's only about the redemption from the pain, and we will thank so much, no, we will thank so much when it wouldn't happen at all. It was preferable, the Rebbe said, that to begin with shouldn't be all this chaos and all this galus. So you have to say that this is not what the pasuk means. This is not what the pasuk means. The pasuk doesn't mean, oh, we're so thankful when galus will be over. This is not only what the pasuk means. Of course we will thank, we'll be relieved, of course. But it's not only what it means. What it means is that we will thank for anafta bi dafka, not for the relief from the pain. We will thank for the pain. That through the galus came the aliyah of the geula, to the highest wondrous levels of Geula. And through revealing the Aleph, which means the hidden, divine, highest intent of Galus, then we will be able to thank for the biggest miracle, which is the Galus, which is so long. It is not explainable anymore. It's al pitam v'das, there's no explanation anymore. Because only this way we come to Gilui Pnimis HaTorah and the Geula. And since in the Geula comes through Melech HaMashiach, the Rebbe says, we will find all these three levels in Melech HaMashiach. He will be the Shleimus of Malchus, he will be the Shleimus of Chabad, that's why he mentioned that he comes from David HaMelech. He did not of Malchus, he comes from Shlomo, HaChacham Mikol Adam. Mashiach will be even wiser than Shlomo HaMelech, who is the Chacham Mikol Adam. And so on and so forth. The Shleimus of Mashiach will help us to bring the Shleimus of this Galus, that to the extent that we will be able to fully thank for all the pain, that through that pain we had our own ishtadlus, our own efforts and our own service, that brings us to such a Geula that we will be able to 100% being thankful for. And this Hashem can only accomplish through a pele, through such a miracle and a wonder that Seichel doesn't grasp it now. Because now Seichel cannot find any justified reason why so much pain and why so much loss and why so much mourning and why so much devastation. But Bekarov Mamash, we'll be able to see that you'll be able to thank, and it should happen tonight, and it should be in a way of Odcha Hashem ki anafta bi. There shouldn't be anafta, there shouldn't be any anger and any galus. It should be Geula Amiti, it should be true, complete, and the whole world, instead of being engaged of how to eliminate godliness and the godly people from the world, the whole Esek HaOlam will be to engage in knowing God and to admire and assist His holy people. In the Geula Amitis Vashlema, take you biyad mamash now. Please learn Parashas Emor, because there's so much, including the fact that in this Parsha, the Rebbe said that we all can become tzaddikim. The Rebbe says that we can all become tzaddikim now. So no more alevai beinoni, wish to be a beinoni. The Rebbe says in this Parsha, Parshas Emor Tavshinun Aleph, that we can all do the avodah of tzaddikim. So good luck to all of us.